Welcome everybody to our virtual winter open house. We are so excited to talk with you today and give you a better sense of what being at STU is really like. My name is Christy Flood and I work in STU's admissions office as the Director of Student Recruitment, but I always say more importantly, I'm a very proud STU alumna. And something interesting about today's session is that everybody with whom you'll be talking is actually a current STU student or a proud STU graduate. So you're going to be talking with a variety of people who have a diversity of experiences here. And we want to hear from you. We want to receive your questions. We'll talk about exactly what that will look like later. But for those of you who are joining us a bit early, our early birds, thanks so much for coming. I do want to just give you some time to get settled and to see some familiar faces in the form of our admissions counselors. So I'm joined here by all of our admissions counselors, many of whom you would have talked with already. And I'd like to introduce them. So we'll get started with Muchinetta. And I'm wondering if you folks, as you introduce yourselves, want to also explain why you chose to come to St. Thomas.
Thank you so much, Christy. Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you join us today at whatever time it is where you're joining us from. As Christy mentioned, my name is Muchinetta. I am a digital admissions counselor here at St. Thomas, and I'm also a proud graduate of STU. So I graduated just a year ago in May, and I did a double major in human rights and criminology. So as to why I chose St. Thomas, honestly, when I was doing my research, I really wanted an institution that I would be able to easily adapt to. So the sizing of St. Thomas was really something that drew me to it. And the programs that we offer here at STU were really something that I was really interested in, and specifically a program called Moot Court, which is something that I was able to be involved in. But there are a lot of other reasons as well. But I think for the most part, the sizing, I wanted to be part of a community where I'd be seen, where I'd be heard, and where I could make a difference.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Daskalou, and I am one of the admissions counselors here at St. Thomas University that works a lot with students from Nova Scotia, Quebec, and Europe. I also graduated from STU in 2020 with a double major in journalism and communications. And I guess there's many reasons why I chose STU, but if I have to just pick one, I guess the main one would be the classes, the small classes, and the connections that I've made with professors. I mean, even now, like after I graduated 2 years after, I'm still speaking with some of my professors over Facebook out of all places. But, you know, in the end, I was very happy for choosing St. Thomas University.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm again another admissions counselor here, and I work a lot with students in Newfoundland, PEI, Asia, and Australasia. I graduated from STU in 2018 with my Bachelor of Arts, and I studied English and History. And then I came back to STU for another year and did my Bachelor of Education as well. Kind of similar to everyone else, there's a few reasons why I chose STU. I came from a really small town, so I liked the idea of coming to a small university. Probably the biggest reason was that my sister also went to STU, so she started 2 years earlier than I did. So I was hearing from her how much she loved going to STU. I've been able to come and stay with her in her dorm a couple times. So when I was considering universities, it was kind of a no-brainer, and STU was the only place I applied.
Hi everyone, I'm Bailey. Also one of another admissions counselors here. I primarily work with students from New Brunswick and the United States. I graduated in 2021 with my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Criminology and Criminal Justice. One of the main reasons why I kind of started to look at St. Thomas was really to do with a lot of the accessibility services that are here at St. Thomas. I came from a really small high school, so that allowed me to have that kind of one-on-one support with my teachers in high school, and I wanted to kind of continue that in my academic journey at university as well. And I just felt like St. Thomas really had great support systems for me as someone who has 2 learning disabilities. So that was a big factor in choosing St. Thomas. They do a great job over there as well.
And I am Louise. Surprise, surprise. I'm another admissions counselor here at St. Thomas. I work a lot with students in Central Canada and Latin America. So if any of those students are joining us today, good morning. I know it's pretty early where you are, so thanks for being here. So I graduated from 2020 with my Bachelor of Arts honors in Spanish language and literature and major in human rights. And then I returned the following year and completed a Bachelor of Education also here at St. Thomas. I actually chose STU in part because my parents are both STU graduates. And while I did investigate other university options, I just found that the way I grew up with my parents and with the STU grads that they had invited into our lives, all of their friends who they stayed close with, the morals and the values that I was instilled, that were instilled in me by them are directly from St. Thomas. So it really just aligned with, the kinds of things I want to do in my life, the kind of things that I saw my parents and their friends doing, the way that they have like the passion to make good changes in the world. That really comes from STU. And that's really what I found here when I came for a campus tour and when I learned more about it as an incoming student. So that is why I ultimately chose STU.
Excellent. Thanks so much, everybody. I think we have time for one more question, and I'm going to put you folks on the spot, but it's something that I was recently asked while meeting with some future students, and I thought it was kind of a profound question. So I'm wondering what you folks think, if you could choose one thing more people knew about STU. What's one service, program, feature, anything true to your STU experience that you wish more people were aware of? We'll start again, same order, Muchinetta, if you want to get us kicked off.
Yeah, so I think my answer is actually in the slogan that we have, small university of big opportunities. So a lot of people tend to think that because we're a small university, we don't have a lot of opportunities, but that's actually not true. And actually in today's open house, you're actually going to see and hear from different offices, from students, staff members, faculty, and see how, you're going to be able to get so much experience out of this small university. It's a small university, but it's mighty. And I feel like, that's one thing that I really want people to take out of today's open house, that, there's a lot of opportunities for students here at St. Thomas.
So I'm going to go towards a little bit more the services. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the experiential learning office, where like you can get pretty much an internship based on what you are interested in. While at some other institutions, like higher institutions, that might only be available for upper year students. While here at St. Thomas University, as soon as you come here, you can do that right away. But it's actually pretty cool because 100% of our internships are actually paid or for credit. So one of the, I guess, another main reason why I chose STU is that you actually get to do a lot of like hands-on learning. And that was very important for me because that's how I get to learn, by doing things instead of kind of like, having somebody talk to me the whole time.
So I think kind of thing that makes STU really stand out to me based on my experience is how international your experience can be. Despite STU being a pretty small school and being in New Brunswick, which obviously isn't as big as like going to a school in Toronto, which has a lot more people. So despite the fact that we're really small, you can still have all these experiences while you're a student. So I was able to go on an international exchange to South Korea while I was at STU. I was able to work with programs where I was helping international students with their English speaking and listening skills. So despite the fact that it is a small university, you can still have those big worldly experiences while you're a student here.
Yeah, I think for me, if you've heard a presentation from me before, I talk a lot about the culture of St. Thomas, and whether it's academic or personal, we care about you as the person and we care about your growth here. And I found that to be something that I really valued in my education, but also knowing that I was growing into the person that I am now. Whether that came from my professors or it came from the accessibility services or what have you, the culture that we have here on campus really is something that I find very unique. And we're able to do that because of all of these things that Hannah and Muchinetta and Alex have kind of talked about. The things that are in place for you here allow you to grow as a person. And that was something that I really valued here. And I want students to know, because I want students to feel as comfortable as possible. I know that sometimes the transition to university can be challenging, and we want to ensure that we have the best resources available for you to grow as a person. So, yeah.
I'm having trouble narrowing down what I want to say, but I'll try to keep it brief. There are so many like hidden gem classes that you can take at St. Thomas. So just because you are, interested in taking maybe psychology for instance, you should still look into what are being offered in other programs, other streams. Definitely try a lot of different subjects and courses. There are some really very interesting niche classes that you might not expect to enjoy. For instance, I know that there's magic and demons in the English department. The history department has a class on the history of food. So just so many small, interesting things. I mean, you could pick up another language, take a Japanese course, so many things that you could explore. So don't forget to look for those little opportunities as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Louise. And thanks to all of our admissions counselors for getting today's event kicked off. You'll get a chance to hear more from your admissions counselor as the day goes on. So don't worry, that wasn't your only chance. But for those of you who are just joining us now, welcome. We are so thrilled to talk with you today. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you're joining us from. My name is Christy Flood, if I haven't talked with you just yet, and I work in STU's admissions office as the Director of Student Recruitment. But more importantly, I'm a very proud STU alumna. And today I'll be serving as your MC for our open house. So before today's event gets underway, I would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Wolastoqey and Maliseet people, whose ancestors, along with the Mi'kmaq and Passamaquoddy, signed peace and friendship treaties with the British Crown in the 1700s. So we have a jam-packed schedule for you folks to ensure that you have the opportunity to better understand STU's unique approach to academics, our supportive community and culture to which Bailey was just referring, and our admission process, because those logistics are really important, especially this time of year. We have some upcoming deadlines that are really rapidly approaching, fast and furious. So we want to ensure that you're well equipped to kind of forge those next steps and get ready to join us at St. Thomas. So you can see the schedule for today on the slide that will be coming to your screen in just a moment. But just to give you a sense of what today's event is going to look like, how you'll be able to get involved, do not worry, your camera and microphone will not accidentally turn on throughout today's event. So if you're somewhere comfortable at home, please stay comfy. That sounds great to us. But we do want to hear from you. We do this work because we love interacting with future students. So please be sure to participate throughout today's ceremonies. So to do that, you can submit a typed question right through our Q&A box. And that would be the best way for you to have any concerns you have, any questions, any curiosities even addressed by us. We are going to do our best to pose as many of those questions as we can live so they're answered orally, but we know sometimes throughout these events with such a jam-packed schedule that's not always possible. So we do have all of our admissions counselors behind the scenes and they'll be sending some typed responses to things that we don't get a chance to answer orally. I should also mention to you folks, if you haven't yet applied and you're thinking of joining us in fall 2023, the time is nigh. Please be sure to apply as soon as possible. We'll be talking a little bit more about next steps at the end of today's event, but I just want to plant that seed early in today's program and mention that depending on your circumstance, what program you're applying to, if you're coming to us from high school, etc., you may in fact be eligible for an application fee waiver just on the basis of joining us today. So thank you again for taking the time to talk with us. So as I look through to see all of our attendees, I'm seeing a ton of familiar names, which is really exciting. And in looking them, I know that most of you who are in attendance are applying to our Bachelor of Arts program. But when I'm talking with students and supporters, I often find that there's a great deal of confusion over exactly what is a Bachelor of Arts degree, what do you do with it, and what exactly does a liberal arts education constitute, and what does it mean for students? What does it mean for the world? So with this in mind, just to help demystify what the liberal arts are and what they do to benefit you and society more broadly, we have invited Dr. Andrew Moore of our Great Books department here to discuss the liberal arts approach with you today, so you can better understand why we chose to focus on this educational approach. So Dr. Moore, I will turn it over to you.